Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here for my daily video. Did you like the picture that was the starter of me in front of the forsythia? I just love that they're in bloom. Those in the daffodils yellow, and so I had a yellow t-shirt on, my Yoga with Adrienne t-shirt for doing yoga every day in January. I had to order one of the t-shirts. So we got in front of the forsythia bush and I brought that out so that you could see it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, you do see a full top there. So our topic today kicks off with the Primitive Stitchery series. So the Primitive Stitchery series, my friend Cindy, who is also my spa lady, she is doing the cross stitch part and then I'm assembling them. So here it is. Isn't that cute? I just love it. This one is called Welcoming and Cheerful. They name all of them with two different words. I'm not sure why. I'll have to ask somebody. But this one I did with a little binding on it, a little yellow binding to pop the yellow of the pineapple, because the pineapple is the welcome symbol. If you look at colonial things, the pineapple is very universally used for welcome. So it just love that. Could pop that little yellow out there. So here's the difference where I did one prior where I did it where I just flipped it like a pillow. So I left an opening and turned it inside out and then just top stitched around. Oh, that one actually has binding too. Never mind, that one actually has binding. It's just the same color. Well, other ones I don't put binding on them. Okay. So I'm a dork, okay? I'm a dork. I thought it was binding. No binding. So anyways, there is today's and your challenge today, because everything comes with a challenge. Well, you know, not everything, but welcoming and cheerful. I want you to go to the comments here and at my Facebook community today and say hello to somebody. Comment more than one. Do 3, 5. Go leave a comment, interact with somebody, tell them hello, tell them you like their project. Of course, in the community, people share what they're working on or have a question, answer a question for somebody. Make some friends. Within the comments, if you see somebody's comment and you're like, oh yeah, I feel the same way, you know, go ahead and share that. Make some new friends. Be welcoming and cheerful today. I think that that's a great thing to do. That's the way you make friends in an online community. If you're here in the mornings when we're doing our the premiere of the video, when it first releases, we have in the mornings 300 people from around the world. We've got the EU people who it's in around noontime for them, and we have the Australians, which is late at night, and then everybody on the East Coast and the Midwest, and even some of you West Coasters are on here because you're up early and you join us. So it is super fun. Yes, you got to join, you got to make friends. So make friends today. All right, I got the whole March Hope, the last row. Here's the last row. So I got the whole last row done. Whoop, and I will put it on with the others, and then I will do some sort of small little like 1-inch border around it. I like doing that before I send it off to be long arm so that all of these edge seams are locked in. I could just stay stitch them as well, but I just sort of started doing these little mini outer borders, and I just like that little rim of color before you put the binding. So it feels nice and good. Okay, so let's talk about this. Holy moly. So I decided, after I told you, you know, I needed to figure out what to do with this, that I would do the hearts. So there's 12 hearts. Yes, 12 hearts. And so I thought, okay, I'll do the hearts. So I did them in the evening. And then the next morning I got up and I thought, you know, all I got to do is put the hearts together and then assemble it. And there's just not that many pieces. If I do it all, then it's done. And this top can be done. And I could actually get some backing for it and send it to the spa, you know, with the next group of things that I send, because it's not that big. I could just sort of get it done and have it ready for next Valentine's or anytime I want to put up. I could put it in here. If I had more space, I'd put it in here. But there's a couple things that I did that I wanted to share with you. One is, these half square triangles for the corner. I thought I had angled them so that they were all, you know, the right direction, but I had one set that were upside down. So I didn't put the angle the right way. I rotated the unit before I went to sew it under, even though I thought I checked, and so they were upside down. So what I did is I just remade them, carefully checking by flipping the piece over to be sure they would be in the right direction, because it's a directional fabric and I wanted all four of those corners to be fabric going the right way. The other thing now is that I have two of these. So what do I do with these? I have two options, I guess. I have two options. I could just leave them as it is and go into this bin I have up here on the shelf, where inside this bin I put these, remember I put all of my extra blocks. So I have bags of extra blocks. Once this bin is full, I refuse to, I have to sew one up, because I refuse to make a second bin of these. All of these are bags of extra blocks in colors that kind of go together. So these two could go in the red bag, so that when I'm working with these, I will have, you know, two more big half square triangles to work with on the wall. So that's option one. The other thing I could do is I could cut these down for the scraps that I'm doing, the half square triangle scraps. I'm working in two sizes right now because I apparently am creating an abundance from yesterday, an abundance of 1.5 inch, 1 inch finished half square triangles. But this is too big. I mean, I could cut 2 1 inches off of here, but I still have a lot of extra. But what if I did a 2.5 and a 1.5? Because my 2.5 inch squares do have some half square triangle units in there. I sprinkle them in when I'm doing those checkerboard quilts or the traffic jams, the traffic jam quilt. So let's take a look at how I would think about that. So if I had this, let's get closer. So I've got my little Olfa mat here. This is the tiny Olfa mat, so I can show you. And got my Olfa roller, Olfa. So now if I wanted to do the 2.5, that is basically down here. So this is the 2.5 inch mark right there. But I'm not going to cut it right now. What I'm going to do is take a pin so I can be sure where that is, so I don't, you know, mess up. So it's 2.5. Why, that's jamming. Okay, so it's 2.5 at the pin, and I'm using a unicorn pin, just so you know. Now I can rotate this and see where is 1.5. So I have totally enough room. I have plenty of room there to do the 1.5 on this. So I can do 2.5 here, 1.5 here, which means there will be this unit of waste and this unit of waste, which if you are doing crumbs, you can take those and sew them together to make them up for crumb things, if you're going to get that obsessed, which I know a few of you are. So I'm not that obsessed. Those two, you know, I'm not sure if I will keep crumbs with them or not. I might just for a little while, just for the fun of it, just to see if I kept all the stuff that I would consider crumbs, like little pieces like that, if I kept them all for the whole year from all the projects I work on, I wonder what I would end up with. It would just be interesting. Although I think I need to be sewing them as I go along, because I don't want in December to open up this exploding box of little tiny pieces, because honestly that will not motivate me very much. That is not very exciting to me. So if I sew them as I go along, that might be good. So there is my option. Either leave it whole or take it and cut a 2.5 and a 1.5. So you can vote. Go ahead and vote, and while you're voting, say hello to somebody in the comments, because that's what we're doing today. Now somebody asked me where were the blue blocks that were on the wall. They're over here. I threw the blue blocks, blue blocks, there we go, and my Morrison Park sashing. I don't know the status, what I'm going to do with those. I have to focus on my other stuff, although I might start, if I put them up on the wall and get an order and then cut sashing, I could just sort of use it, you know, every so often, like late in the evening, like sew a couple, but I'd have to be super organized in here and structure them so that I don't have to have them up on the wall, because I need the design wall for other things. And then the other thing I have to do now is, out of the top of my cart here, is this is the stuff for the hearts. So I need to get rid of this whole thing. I need to make the binding and then cut a backing, put the binding in with my other stuff, which is in the drawer over there. And then that way that project is done. The top of this can free up for a current project. Or that bee kit, that one that's going to be so easy to do. Yes. Super, super easy, right? Okay, we also have, don't forget, the Jolly Bar 3 starts next, well, I think it's the 5th of April, which is next month, which isn't that far. So here's the Jolly Bar 3 book. And I will link you below to the project page, or you can just go to I Love to Make Quilts, my project website, and you can see it there. Okay, one last thing. Several people asked about how wide the sashing was on my Florida quilt. It is, I think I put it on the website, I think it's 13 inches for the palm fabric, and then another 2 inches for the aqua again. So it's like a 15-inch border. But I've done a lot of big borders. This is an older book that's out of print, but I want to show it to you anyway, because Greg's favorite book that I ever wrote is Camera Color Quilts, where I take photos and then use the photos, the colors in it, to teach you how to look at colors and create quilts from them. So I thought I'd just show you a couple of pages from it. You can still get it on the aftermarket. I'll link you down below. But here is, like, I took these flowers, and then here's how they converted these colors into a table runner. And there's one where the same table runner, I converted this picture I took. All these are my photos. Picture I took in Philadelphia. Isn't that house amazing? And then this fabric that I used for it. The cover quilt is called a farmer's market because it was inspired by these pictures of the farmer's market that I took. And this is a 10-inch border on this quilt. And it's a big quilt. I think this is 80 by 80, and that's a 10-inch border on it. But I'm using all of these colors to be inspired to do this quilt. And then I'm going to show you my Caribbean one. That's the last one I'll show you. The deep ocean. Here we go. So here's my Caribbean beach photo, which then I translated into this blues, all different shades of blue fabric. And I walk you through the process. So that is, so I like wide borders. I put them on a lot of things, and I hope you sort of enjoyed taking a look at this book. I'll link you to it if you want to get it. Find it in the aftermarket, because it's been around. It's out of print. It was out of print for quite a few years, but it's still got good information in it. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. If you could click the subscribe, hit the like button for me. I will see you online. Mwah. I love you. And I switched those around, didn't I?